On the 22nd, we have Robin Zane. On the 23rd, we have Jake DeLeon. On the 29th, we have Bino Blue. Uh, and on the 30th, we have Joya. So the rest of April almost complete. Definitely check our social media for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more um, at Wrestling with Me. Alright, I think we're done putting ourselves over for the moment. No, Kaliko?
Never, because everything is beleza, as they say in Brazil.
Very on topic. But we got to, because it's just it was one of those big weeks for wrestling. Not even enough time to cover the news this week, because we are wrestling with AEW Dynasty. It took place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Licorice Center. Attendance was 7,921. Um, and depending on who you ask, it was not a good day for pro wrestling. Some might say it was a good day for pro wrestling, but I digress. Um, the show as a whole, how did you feel about it, Kaliko?
Ooh, uh, it made no sense. I mean, I'll put it this way: if the main event is what prefaces the show, that show is dog shit. Sorry.
I mean, you're not exactly wrong about that. They left a lot to be desired. I gave them, some grace last time around for, um, what was it, Revolution. And, I mean, they did a pretty good job at that, paid preview. Um, like I said, I'm a little biased towards it. I was there, so I was maybe a little bit more invested than I would have been in other paid previews that they've done. Um, but yeah, this just came at the wrong time. I don't think I was mentally prepared to watch Dynasty as well. So yeah, it was just AEW doing AEW shit. So we should probably get into it now. We have
Reluctantly, I have to get into it because to me, that main event cut everything short.
and we'll get there. Um, there were two pre-show matches. We did not watch those matches, so they're not worth mentioning. Um, that brings us to the opener of the show. Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. Um,
Now, Kevin, next, because it went exactly what I thought it would go.
yeah, didn't need to. Definitely didn't need to see that one to see how it gonna play out. Um, AEW World Tag Team Championship match. The Outsy Business, Robert Lashley and Benjamin Shelton with VIP defeated the Learning Tree, Big Bill and the Bandit Keith in 11 minutes. Um, this confused me, if I'm being honest, because the Heart Syndicate is heels, the Learning Tree is heels. The heels wasn't heels towards the heels, but the other heels healed on the heels, and they won. But the heels played cleanly. Am I making sense here?
Heels have eyes. I guess. I mean,
What I'm saying is,
honestly,
yeah, continue.
honestly, you kind of want to go semi next because it was rather predictable what was going to happen. Um, It's just that this was an odd pairing. And I got why they did it when Dynamite came Wednesday, but it
Right.
still was just an odd pairing. It was just two heels working because I mean, yeah, it was just because it felt like the crowd didn't know who to cheer. I mean, they were cheering more for the Syndicate, and the Syndicate kind of were more clean.
I disagree. The Syndicate worked more heel, and the Tree played more cleanly.
Which I mean, I guess considering they don't have the stomach to be heels, I don't know. It's like what.
It was
Because when if I mean, yeah, it was awkward.
it was so bizarre. And like you said, you kind of understood where they were going because of what happened on Wednesday. Chris Jericho, chewed their asses out. Um, but I just wonder, could this have just been done on a random Dynamite rather than, a paid preview? You know what I mean?
Yet, yes, but Tony Khan didn't spend all that money signing them three people just to not do pay-per-views.
Well, I mean, we could have got another Outrunners match against the Syndicate.
Oh God, no. Um, yeah, no.
Do we even want to do star ratings at this point?
I mean, we already. That is a great question. You know what? I will work it out. Let's do it because we need to figure out what the fuck. Because you know what? Yes, we need to. It's another episode of Guess That Rating. Because god damn it, this needs to be put in the books. Because personally, I thought this was ass. And if you see what I'm saying? So if Meltzer's going against the grain of the people, we got problems. You see what I'm saying?
Well, okay. So we should probably backtrack here and start with Osprey and Knight, right?
Well, we'll go Osprey and Knight, but Osprey and Knight, me three because went exactly what I thought it was going to go. Osprey beating his ass, and I told you. I mean, why would you have Osprey and Fletcher on the card and they don't win and see each other? So that's why it
Right.
screamed. But anyways, your rating on the Osprey?
Um, I gave it two fast forward bars because I did not watch it. The show was
Okay.
the show was 4.5 hours, and and you know predictability, lack of interest caused me to need to speed something up, and this definitely played that.
Yeah, because it was. I mean, we called it. We were saying that in the preview. It was kind of like it was a mix of like squash matches with
Right.
quarter intriguing matches, and then yeah. So
So, Uncle Dave, this is gonna be interesting.
Uncle Day. Oh yeah, it's interesting. All right, you can bet
So
your ass that
it's Will Ospreay in the opener. 5.25 stars.
on the right track, but you're off.
5?
Uh-uh.
Higher or lower?
I'm a lower
4.5.
4.5.
Okay. You know, respectfully, honestly, I low key respect out of Dave to not give Will Ospreay a 5-star match with a jobber. No disrespect to Kevin Knight, but I mean, you didn't. Stevie Wonder blindfolded could have saw this match, what was going to happen in this match. So
Stevie Wonder blindfolded driving that night on the 70s on the what the grapevine could have saw this shit coming.
This is correct. All right. Hurt Syndicate. How many stars you give that one?
2, because it. And people are gonna think we're hating, and I don't want to say that I'm hating. I just look at it from the match card when it's announced, the probability of how it could go, and the probability gives me already a low bar rating that I already have in my head. So I already had 2 at offset, and it stayed at 2 because it was 2 heels working, and I mean, Hurt Syndicate looks strong. It seems like they're the strongest faction other than the damn Death Riders at this point. So yeah.
No, I agree with that. Um, it was a solid 2 for sure. All right. Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament quarterfinal
Oh,
match.
no, no, no. Red
Oh yes.
Belzer.
Uncle Dave.
What do you think, Uncle Dave? Uncle Dave.
3.5.
Lower.
3.25.
Lower.
3.
2.5.
2.5. Okay. All
So
right.
how he follows, it's crazy. He gives Will Ospreay a 4 off the rip in
Mhm.
this month. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Like I said, Owen Hart. Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament quarterfinals match. Mercedes Monet defeated Julia Hart in 13 minutes. Um, like I said, I needed. It was a 4.5 hour show. Needed something to speed up, and yeah. As much as it hurt my heart to speed up a Julia Hart match, I needed something. I I knew where this was going, so
That's the problem because you knew. That's what I was saying. In some ways, it felt like a collision show.
I mean, damn, you didn't even
It's,
give them dynamite. You gave them
it,
collision.
yeah, it's like collision where they're, or not even that. Like what is it? AEW After Dark.
I think it was Rampage. It was called Rampage. Yeah. So I would say this was a dream bar. For me, what say you? How many stars?
3 skip bars. I mean, 1.5 because as soon as the match got announced, you knew who the hell was winning.
Very true. I mean, why does Mercedes Monet need to be in this tournament anyway? She has 15 fucking belts. She doesn't need to be
Because
in
I
it.
think, well, because I think they're setting up Tony and Sasha. LOL.
That's just going to hurt both of them if they do that.
It's I'm tell it's other. Okay, here's the question. Because considering what's happened Wednesday, do you think because who, Sasha's a big favorite in this field,
Hmm.
who the hell else do you see taking her out?
I know you're gonna say get the fuck out, but Holly Cameron.
What? Stop.
I, I,
Just
I know what I
just
said.
cancel. Just stop the show right now. Just stop the show right now. Just that girl is literally like the sun next to Pluto, and a bunch of, and that's not even disrespectful to the wrestlers. It's just the way that they booked Sasha is like the sun next to a bunch of Plutos. Because I would have guessed Chris Statlander, but the problem is I just saw Chris Statlander get her ass beat by fucking Sasha Banks about 6 months ago.
Right. But the thing of it is, Harley, and there is method to my madness when I say Harley Cameron, because she did have that, tiny rivalry with her maybe a month ago. And I mean, personally, it would make sense. Okay, you had your biggest star beat this, up and comer, and then the up and comer has, a out of nowhere upset victory against your biggest star, especially if you want to, make them a star. That would make sense if you were, a promoter, but, AEW never necessarily makes sense.
No. But the thing is that God help us, because the only person that's going to save us from the Sasha slaughter is Tony Storm. That's the only person that's going to save you. I don't see anyone else saving anybody from Sasha taking over. Sasha is Thanos at this point, the way that she's been booked.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. It's Sasa no Yob.
No job indeed, but I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. And Julia, and that's not saying Julia gave it her best. I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah,
So it's not a knock on Julia. It's just more of the positioning that they're putting Sasha in, to where she's like ungoddamn beatable. Think about this: Sasha beat Stephanie, and Stephanie's in NXT killing that shit.
yeah. She actually got. She's better for it losing to Sasha.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where you see what I'm saying? So that's where it's getting me.
Unfortunately, there's no WWE contract for Julia Hart right now, so.
Come
Um,
on home.
how many stars you give this one?
I told you 1.5,
One
because
and a
it
half.
was
Yeah.
1.5. It was 1.5 when they announced it. It was that shit ain't go.
I'm gonna say
So
Uncle Dave gave it at least a 2.
you are right. He gave it at least a 2.
So it was 2?
No, higher.
Okay.
That was your baseline.
Okay. Um, 2.5?
2.5.
Okay. I'm starting to get a feel for this. Alright, trios match for the AEW World Trios Championship. The Dead Riders, Claudio Ida Canoli, the Bastard Pickpock, and Dord Wheeler Yuta defeated Rated FTR, Edge, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Hardwood in 14 minutes 45 seconds. Considering what came before it, this wasn't necessarily a bad match. Um, it was okay, and I mean, the match wasn't the story. And by God, this was one of the only matches that actually had a story. Um,
Yes.
so I could,
Oh, no, no, no.
mhm.
Scratch that. That ain't the only match. This is the only match that had a story that made sense. Different story.
We'll get there. um, but yeah, I I kind of thought that Dax was going to turn on Cope. Um, I don't want to say it made sense, but it's obviously the direction that they were teasing, a couple weeks ago. So I mean, again, you should have watched this show with Stevie Wonder. He would have spoiled the fuck out of it. Um, but what kind of caught me off guard was that Cass actually turned on Edge too. They pretty much fucked him up pretty goodly. So, I want to be mad that the Dead Riders won, and things are still the same and all of that stuff. But
Hmm.
you know, they gave me a story I could kind of sort of sink my teeth into to kind of say, huh, okay, well, they're doing something. So I kind of feel like that kind of makes up for it. But how did you feel about it?
Well, they gave you something in which you saw it progressing to somewhere, and it actually made sense why it happened.
And it actually went
Um,
that way as well, which is not
exactly.
is not always the case with AEW.
Yeah, it didn't swerve left. Like Chris Statlander beating the hell out of Willow every chance you got, but she couldn't get over in none of the matches. Oh, but that's a whole other story, another
Well,
day.
another that's a whole other episode.
The whole boy, we could that people. We're gonna do that. We're gonna have to do that. Some crazy what the fuck bookings. The craziest what the fuck bookings in wrestling history. See, top 10. There we go. We got our accepted. But back to
At
this
some point
match.
we're gonna have to do that top 10 that top 50 list of WrestleMania matches from YouTube because I know that you're pretty heated towards it.
Oh my god, don't get me started on that. Boy, oof.
Yeah.
Anyways, this match actually it picked up, it made sense. Um, and I thought, and this is just me writing notes in real time because when I wrote it, I was like, when the Death Riders won, I wrote clearly Moxley has to lose tonight. Right? Because to me, I always it does, I always looked at it like something because usually when you have your whole faction on it, all of them aren't, they're not sleeping the entire night.
I think
Um,
you're going into that with a New Japan logic because usually
well,
New Japan doesn't, but again, AEW logic.
that that is true too. But then I also thought about it like the Death Riders been trios champs for how long, and they haven't really defended it that much, so they're kind of holding the trios division on damn hostage. Um, uh, but that's another topic. But yeah, other than I mean, the match was secondary to what happened after the match, so it's gonna be interesting what's gonna go down, and I can only predict that Edge and Christian are coming back together.
I kind of feel that too. But how the fuck does that make sense when they had a I Quit
Bro,
match a couple of
I'm
months?
just letting you know
Yeah,
they're gonna get that 5 seconds of fucking posing on.
I know. Yeah, I know.
You know,
I
you
know.
know it.
Mhm.
It ain't gonna make no goddamn sense, but
It's gonna
you
happen.
know it's gonna happen.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
just stand the fuck by. We don't. Even though Christian literally ruined Cope's title shots a month prior, but it's gonna fucking happen.
Not to mention when Colt first came to AEW, he literally told him, "Go fuck yourself."
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's gonna happen. You can bet. This should have been on the prediction show. Bet your ass it's gonna happen.
That's on the bingo card.
That is on the bingo card. That's the center of the bingo card. Anyway, but yes, it made sense because FTR been working face for a minute, so they needed a character change to be heels to show their essence. Because to me, they work better as heels anyway.
How many stars you give this one?
The match or the whole thing?
Let's be fair and say the whole thing.
The whole thing, I'll give it a 4 because
Hmm.
it did because this was the one shining moment in which AEW actually executed on a story that's been down for a while.
They understood the assignment.
Yes, At least I give Edge that much. At least Edge and FTR are undisputed TSM.
I give it 3.5. Um, the match was okay. The the aftermath pleasantly surprised me, which I can't always say it does with AEW, and that it will after we talk about this match. So yeah, 3.5. That brings us to Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave.
What is Uncle Dave thinking? I'm feeling like me and Uncle Dave might be vibing on this one. 3.5.
I
4.25. 4 7/5.
4.5.
4.5. Okay. So you was vibing with Dave.
I told you. I mean, because the story. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. We'll continue.
AEW Women's World Championship match, Timeless Tony Storm, where Lex Luthor defeated Megan Bayne with Penelope Ford in 15 minutes 25 seconds. I wonder what kind of nickname we could give Megan Bayne in the future.
Megan Banner, because that's a bitch. Anyway,
Um, I I like the match. It it made sense for what it was. Tony put Megan over like a motherfucker. Made her look like a monster, which you know she should have done. And then Tony got the W, but it didn't necessarily hurt Megan. It was the the champion got out of it by the skin of her teeth, type situation. So I couldn't
right.
necessarily be mad at it. So I think for everything that it was, they succeeded in what they needed to do, and they executed it rather well. But I kind of attribute that to Tony Storm just being a general at this point. What say you, Kaliko?
I mean, I had that same sentiment. The only thing I just didn't like was the fact that uh, they had Megan do all that at the end just to lose to a roll up, right? Um, or be so dominant towards the end to lose to a roll up. Other than that, it went just about what we thought because Tony just got the title and like I told you, they're setting up Tony Sasha because at this rate, the only person that can save AEW from Sasha taking over is going to be Tony.
Right.
But back to the match. Yeah, very solid. And Megan looked strong. Um, my only issue is that this loss, although it doesn't hurt her, the question is how are they going to build off of that loss? How are they going to put her back in position after that loss, especially considering that you got two suns about to collide, and we know that everything else underneath with the women's is going to be like, eh.
Which I mean, it normally is to begin with.
Oh no,
Unfortunately.
they got a pretty solid roster. It's just the fact that the titles are held on their two biggest stars, and they're just, with the exception of Tony, who was willing to take the loss to Mariah. The titles have been held between them two for the better part of a year and a half.
I
So
mean,
it doesn't give the women anything to elevate to. Does that make sense?
no, I get what you mean. But I mean, Tony took an L to Macon in a tag match prior to the show. So I mean, she's willing to give to
Right.
she
She's
makes
willing
it.
to give, but I get that point. She's willing to give, but what I'm saying is losing in a tag match is totally different than losing in a singles match.
Right. And
And
I just wanted to say I'm not crapping on the women's division. They do have a lot of solid goals. But if
yeah,
it's not pertaining to a title, not they don't really put a spotlight on the women.
right. And that's where I think they're lacking because, prime example, 3 years ago, we were yelling Deanna Purrazzo was like the greatest women's wrestler ever.
Hmm.
Or not ever, but at that time, she was top five. And now, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
She went to the island of misfit toys.
the island of misfit toys. We're just gonna start calling it that from here on out.
It was never not that. We've always called it that.
We've always called it that, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, she was top five a couple years ago when she was in TNA, and now she's on the island of irrelevancy, unfortunately. But getting back to this match, how many stars you give it?
Considering it was, I mean, they had two good matches in a row, so about 3.5. I give it 3.5. 3.5 because Megan looked good, but I kind of figured Tony would win.
I give it 3.5 as well. It was the more bearable matches on the card.
The bearable and a bunch of unbearables.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
That you are correct, sir. Um, now, Uncle Dave,
Uncle Dave.
3.5,
I,
4,
it's Tony Storm for crying out loud. 4. Solid 4.
solid 4. Okay. Men's Owen Hart Cup Tournament quarterfinal match. Kyle Flatulence with Don Callis defeated Mark Briscoe in 16 minutes 15 seconds.
Next.
Title versus match. Uh, title versus mask match for the Raw World Championship. Bandito Dito Dito defeated Chris Jericho in 18 minutes and 15 seconds.
Somewhat of a next, but we can get there. We can take it there.
I mean, this was one of the only matches that they went into it with an actual, story attached that was, personal. Chris Jericho beat up Bandito in front of his sister and mother and stole his brother's mask. And he even cut like a really good promo on Bandito. Um so this was one of the matches I was like, okay, this might actually be pretty good. And then they get in there and it Bandito doesn't come in like he's ready to kill motherfuckers. He wrestles the match like he's just wrestling any other match. Like there was no bloodlust in Bandito's eyes. The match kind of went the way that a generic match on Dynamite probably would have gone. Um, I will say that the they did catch me off guard when they put Jericho over. I was like, wow, they're gonna take Bandito's mask. And then they did the whole, oh, it wasn't right, reverse the decision, restart the match, and it was done so cornerly and so badly. It just, whatever, I don't want to even say interest because my interest kind of, I lost my interest maybe halfway through the match because there was zero fire in it. That definitely killed any fire I had pertaining to this match because it was so badly done. But that's my opinion on it. What say you, Kaliko?
I mean, yeah, but it once again, when someone puts their mask on the line and gets the title, what you expect was going to happen. I mean, shenanigans were ensued, and of course, it was made to seem that way. But then again, everyone wants to see Jericho lose, and everyone got that fulfillment. So, and then considering Wednesday, what happened Wednesday, everything really makes sense. So it's like one of those things where it's like, damn, well, there's glimmers that they can make sense. But in this match, yes, everything made sense.
Um, it doesn't make sense though, because okay, the referee restarted the match because shenanigans were ensued and it was
It is
on.
a dusty finish. Like, what'd you expect? An inverse dusty finish.
But why do they do that for just specific matches and not every single match that has shenanigans in them? Like I mean, fucking Swerve and Moxley was a smorgasbord of fuckery.
Oh yeah, it was. And the fact that yeah, it was a smorgasbord of fuckery, and the ref just either didn't understand, but that's my point. It's just like but it's Ring of Honor, so it could be different rules. I don't know. Like it's But it's funny that Jericho got the Ring of Honor title and it's on AEW, but Athena out here just smoking motherfuckers and she can't even get up. You know what? I'm not sure.
Oh no, she's gonna be on AEW next week. She's gonna take her L to Mercedes.
Oh God, Jesus help us! All right,
I'm
we're
not.
fucked.
I'm not even joking. It's
We're,
it's Athena and
we're,
Mercedes.
we're, we fucked.
Yeah. It's like having. I don't even want to. I don't want to even say Seth Rollins. Like, who is less than Seth Rollins? It's kind of like having Jimmy Uso defeating Roman Reigns while he was on the 3,000 day run, title run. Like, it makes no sense. It would makes no sense.
Well, Jimmy or Jay?
Jimmy, not Jay. Jay made
Well,
complete
yeah,
sense.
it's like if Jimmy, yeah, I get your point.
Yeah. Um, how many stars you give this one?
a, I gave it a 3 because I mean, all the bullshit, but at least they understood the assignment. I give them points for at least understanding the assignment.
I couldn't get behind this one. 2.5.
Oh, wow. Well, we're harsh on this show anyway.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Anyways, okay. Guess that rating, sir.
Um, 3.5.
Lower.
3.25.
3.25.
Okay.
3.25.
Then we have this AEW TNT Championship match. This match had no time limit and outside interference was strictly prohibited. Adam Cole defeated Daniel Garcia in 15 minutes and 35 seconds. And when I hear that, my first thought is, why is an outside interference prohibited in every fucking match? Especially the Dead Rider matches. Why? Just why? Why do you have to put that out there if it doesn't apply to everybody? You know what I mean?
True. but they did that to make it seem like, it's a super special stipulation. You know what this is.
Well,
Now, Adam Cole winning wasn't on my bingo card, but
I don't think it was for a lot of people either. Um, it was definitely. I will say this: it was a solid match. It seemed a lot more personal than it actually needed to be. It seemed like they were just going for it was a champion. If Bandito and Chris Jericho had this intensity, that would have been like a 5-star match. Um,
hmm
but this had all the intensity without the actual
the
sick
story.
story connected to it, which makes absolutely no sense.
I
But
mean, because it's a 50-year-old Chris Jericho who can't, and
well,
Adam Cole can go, but since he left, other than that demon storyline, what else we got? I mean, which that don't even start, but back to this.
yeah, I thought it was a good
Solid,
yeah,
solid,
it was a good
solid.
match.
So-
Um, I maybe would have liked it more if I didn't actually like slice my finger open while I was watching the match. Bleeding all over the place. Had to stop the match to get stop the bleeding, get medicine, and bandage it up. Um,
Damn, tequila limes off this bitch? What were you doing?
it's a long story, but
Look,
but needless to say, I'm okay.
Sasha Banks went and got you one to kill yourself? What the fuck?
Just don't try to open things when you're not paying 100% attention to it with a sharp object. But
I mean, I
yeah,
I get it. Sasha undefeated for a year would make me feel that way too.
it definitely took me slightly out of the match, but I still appreciated what they did. I'll give it 3 7/5.
Mm.
What say you?
Uh, 3.5 because I did not see Adam winning this. I ain't even gonna lie. And the fact that Adam's been in there that long and that's his first singles title is fucking mind boggling, considering he should have been PWI #1 like a couple of years ago. But that's a whole other story.
We're just hashing up old shit that pisses us off in this show, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. But then again, this whole card just got us like traumatized. So to be fair.
Continuing with the traumatization, three-way match for the
Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave. 4 1/4.
Lower.
4?
I was surprised too. Lower.
3.5?
3.25.
Wow. Okay. Uncle Dave does not like somebody in this match. I'm assuming it's going to be
Uncle
Danny
Dave said.
Garcia. Hmm?
Uncle Dave said, "F this."
Apparently. Alright, three-way match for the AEW International Championship. Twinkle Toes McFingerfuck defeated Rick Lachey and Speed Testicle Mike Bailey. Um, this match was too fucking long. The I did like the finish. The finish was good, but everything up to the finish was like it was just a spot fest. I mean, it was a Ricochet match. What did you necessarily expect? I suppose. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it just went on way too long. And I get that it was a Kenny Omega match, so it had to be 20 minutes plus. But it just went too long, in my opinion. But the ending, the way it ended was solid. I'll give them that. That was a good finish. What say you?
Uh, I was doing some research afterwards, and someone said that this was the most GCW 2015 match you ever seen in AEW.
Pro Wrestling Gorilla Battle Los
Oh
Angeles.
no, yeah, no, this is the most PWG ass 2015 match. I was like, bro, I was crying, and he was right though. He was right.
Yeah, that,
They
that
was right.
that's as spot on as spot on can get.
But the right person won. The right guy won, and now I guess it's setting up the match that everyone thought that should have happened before all this went down. See that this lets me know when they want to, they can do it. These motherfuckers just don't do it. Anyways, yeah, Ricochet once again. I mean, Jesus. I mean, I don't know what's worse, him or MJF when that bell rings, because they both ain't popping out with W's. At least MJF gets the title. Damn.
Well, I mean, MJF has a hell of a lot more charisma than Ricochet does.
I'd say he talks more. He does more shit talking. I wouldn't say that channel's prison
I would call it charisma. Dude has zero aura.
bullshit. People just like him. People just like him because he's willing to roast people. That's not really charisma.
I mean,
Jeff Hardy's charisma.
well,
Because that motherfucker is a Mr. DUI and people still love his ass.
yeah. But I mean, compared to, I mean, if we're just we're comparing up Ricochet to
Oh,
MJF,
Ricochet to MJF, yeah, I
yeah,
can see your point in spades, yes. When it comes to that. But I mean, yeah, going back to this match, yeah, the right guy won. Couple good spots. But it was the spot fest you expect. It's Kenny Omega versus a high flyer versus someone who kind of really ain't got no business being in it. And that's pretty much what it was.
this was your welcome to AEW title match for Mike Bailey, and now he goes on
Yeah,
to the Isle of Misfit Toys.
I mean, yeah, sounds about right.
Yep. How many stars you give this one?
Long yet move spot fest 3.
Are you confident with that trick?
I mean, that's the baseline. Anything above that, I'm like, I mean, I love Kenny. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah. I mean, Kenny was not the problem in the match.
yeah, he's not the problem. It was just the fact they put a motherfucker that ain't had no business in it in the match. And
um,
the cynicism in me wanted to say, hey, why the hell Ricochet is even in this match? What? But I will give him some grace.
I give it 2 7/5. I can't necessarily. If it was maybe like 10 minutes shorter, I would have gave it the full 3. But like I said, too long, was completely out of it. So yeah, 2 7/5. All right. Uncle Dave, Dinkin,
Uncle
Dinkin,
Dizzle.
Dinkin.
Uncle Dizzle Shizzle. Nizzle.
Gonna say well, Kenny Omega's in it, so that's
It's not at the Tokyo Dome, so you can take 8 stars away from it.
yeah. I was gonna say my baseline is 4 at least because Kenny Omega's in it. So
I
I'm
mean,
gonna say 4.5.
that's a good guess, but it's higher.
5.25.
Jesus, he get Meltzer gave no match in this a five. So I'm just gonna let you know right now. Just take five out of it.
4 7/5.
4 7/5 is the correct answer, sir.
Like, motherfucker, why just give it 4.5 or a 5? Like, why do we have to do halfsies?
I mean, he does quarter C's. Like that tells you everything.
Yeah, quarter C's. Like, no fucking sense whatsoever.
None.
Alright, alright, so that brings us to the AEW World Heavyweight Championship match.
I think
John Neo-Nazi Moxicillin defeated Swivel Strickland in 31 minutes and 35 seconds. Um, in my opinion, the absolute drizzling shits. Um, it. I could get past it. I could get past all the um clusterfuckery and what's it called? Just all of the gaga. There we go. All the gaga that was connected to this match. If something significant came out of it, and then the stars were aligning, and it seemed like Swerve was going to win the title and end the tyranny of a John Moxley. And then out of fucking nowhere, the young fucks came out of nowhere and cost Swerve the championship. It made no fucking sense. And I felt like this was a complete and utter waste of my time. What say you?
hold on. Let me get some lines.
you're you're setting up. You're getting ready.
The simple fact, I'm going to give Tony credit for this. For one thing and one thing only. Because he is dedicated as fuck for waiting for Darby Allin to get his ass down from the mountain like Moses so he could save AEW from fucking John Moxley. I will give him that dedication. But other than that shit, sir, this has to be the most confusing fucking match I've ever seen in my life. If there were ever a time to get this belt off Moxley at this point, because he is holding it hostage, it's not even, no one's into it. The story doesn't make sense. Why is he even having it? What's the higher power? He's not even the Moxley that he first came in as. So there's no charisma there. The match really was working like not really that good in the beginning. It was a typical Moxley match with a bunch of shenanigans in the shit. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like like he wants to do what was doing in the Bloodline, but like this is like the off-brand Timu version of it. You know what I mean?
But the problem is with the bloodline, it made sense because it was family.
Yeah.
That's a big ass.
I mean, you don't have
Because ain't nobody ride with you unless you see them as family. And considering they had to beat fucking Wheeler into the family, I mean, I
I
mean,
mean, yeah,
eh,
you're 100% right. That's why the bloodline worked. But it's the exact same reason why the Death Riders isn't working. Because he's trying to do something. It doesn't make sense because it isn't what it's supposed to be.
true. And it's just, I don't know what the hell we're gonna do with it because it feels like the Bucks coming in. I don't know what the fuck that was, and Wednesday really didn't even put any clarity on it. Like
Like, why did they fuck Swerve? Like, it,
one, well, they said that they fucked Swerve for Hangman. No, no, no. This is the fun shit, and let's put this match to the side just to get the Bucks. I love the Bucks. Don't get me wrong. You come out after Moxley wins the match, looks him dead in the face, and then they have their little promo, and then they tell Moxley and them who were just in the ring talking to them to come back out when you could have said all that shit to their face. Bro, I'm just like, they ain't paying no fucking attention, no awareness, bro. None whatsoever. So
unfortunately,
that
yeah.
it's the little shit like that is like, why? Um, and then back to the match. I, we were rooting for Swerve over here,
Hmm.
and I thought when they won the trios, oh, clearly Moxley has to lose because it would give Moxley a aim to go all ballistic. Because it seems like he's going ballistic, but you're in control. So why are you going ballistic if you're in control? Right? Am I the only one missing this?
No, I get it. I get where you're
It,
coming from.
it's and it's like they wait. I'm telling you, they waiting on Darby to come down from Everest like Moses with tablets to come get this shit popping. Because that's the only like, somewhere Darby out here eating bacon in fucking 30,000 feet fucking above sea level fucking mountains. And meanwhile, Moxley's got the title fucking on lock because who's the challenger? And then you got Swerve, who's going to end up, because I already see where this is going. It's going to be the Swerve and Page Swerve, or Swerve Page, or Hangman Swerve versus the Bucks to see if they could, quote unquote, get along while
Lazy booking.
Page tries to while Page tries to deal with the friendship of Ghost Pass. Yeah, I it's frustrating. And this, I, if you're loyal to this, bro, I give you got I got like 5 cases of wine you can have because this shit is woo.
Yeah, it's it's not good. And you know, very rarely do I watch pro wrestling and say I wasted my fucking time with this. I usually come out with, well, that was shit, or you know, well, that past time, or something of that nature. And I felt watching this match that I just wasted my time. It was so bad. And there's one thing of, trying to protect a champion and, having the chicken sit heel, and I get that. I'm for it. And it works, in some cases. But when you're doing it to the extent where you're insulting the intelligence of your audience, that's where I kind of take, exception to that. We're not stupid, and you're making stupid out of us, and it pisses me off.
It's not even stupid. It's just more like it makes no sense why the Bucks would say, and this is me putting Wednesday into it. So this is why I say it. This is why I say it makes there's no clarity, because why would Hangman Page needs the Young Bucks to do what Hangman Page himself have been doing the Swerve the whole goddamn time in every title match?
Right. It makes
It
no sense.
that's what is like that is the infuriating part. If Swerve, if and then and it's okay, and then for them to do that, see, this is where it really didn't make sense, because they did it after Hangman himself came out and helped Swerve.
Yep.
So you're telling me that the Bucks knew better for what was best for Hangman Page?
Well, I mean, obviously their intentions have intentions in behind them.
But the intent, but that's the point. Okay, if Swerve, okay, I'll put it this way: if the Bucks attacked them, and then if the Bucks attacked them and Swerve loses the match, and then Page comes out and helps Swerve after the match, that makes total goddamn sense.
You're trying to apply logic to an AEW logic situation.
No, 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 no. But that's what I'm trying to get at. The point I'm getting at is that the pro, it they undercut their own promo argument just by the timeline itself. Oh, we did it for Hangman because we're his true friends. Well, motherfucker, you sure had a whole horrible time of doing it because you did it right after the motherfucker just came out. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh no, 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 he didn't mean to go and attack John Moxley. He meant to get swerved. So we just had to make sure that we did what he wanted to do initially. So that's what was pissing me off. Like, I think that's what pisses me off more than anything. Um, because one, it didn't make sense, and then Wednesday, it really didn't make sense. So,
Yeah.
so it's like why watch it? Why watch this? Why get my blood pressure up watching this shit? Like, I'm just saying, like eh, fuck me.
Well, unfortunately, after the show ended, Swerve had an impromptu heel turn. Um, he was thanking the crowd for coming out. Basic baby face shit. Thank you for coming. I'm here because I love it. For the culture, all that good shit. Um, and then he said, for my own amusement, fuck Booker T. Which garnered a lot of hate for Swerve because, obviously Booker T is on NXT living his best life.
Nope. That it's deeper than that. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I know. And I'm paraphrasing here, but apparently Booker T said something on the lines of, Swerve wouldn't be a wrestler if Booker T wasn't, a wrestler before him. Depending on the
Oh
con.
no, no, no. You're missing the story. You really don't know what went down, did you?
Apparently not. Then enlighten us.
Oh, okay, that about that. Well, for the most people. So there's this one guy who actually does all these interviews, and for better or for worse, they kind of see him as a parasite of the culture, and his name is DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad does a lot of these interviews with people, and kind of like some people feel like he doesn't do it with the best of intentions, right?
Okay,
Um,
I got
and
you.
and Swerve was one of and he was one of the most frequent guests on that on that on that show on the D on for DJ Vlad. So they usually air these things in parts because you have to pay through the firewall to get the whole thing, but he'll put up sections and clips on YouTube. So everyone just caught up on the fact that when Vlad got to Swerve to talk about his interaction with Booker T, which left a sour taste in Swerve's mouth to even get him to say that. You see what I'm saying? At the night. Now, this is where it's interesting because Booker T's stance the whole entire time was, I don't even want to go on that show because he showed the receipts of DJ Vlad wanting Booker T on the show through text messages in which uh, Booker T was like, no, I don't want to be on the show because of the way DJ Vlad presents things. So that's why Booker T was more like, and this is what he said on his own podcast, is like, I don't like DJ Vlad because the way the way he put it in is like Swerve's against him. And Booker's like, bro, yeah, you wouldn't be here if it's for me. But, and also they're trying to pit us against each other. And I don't want to be pitted against you. See, that's the huge context people kind of lay out, miss in this, is
Okay.
that Booker T does not like DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad used Swerve as an extension to expose Booker T.
Okay.
And that is where it's missing because right now, like you said, Booker T's living his best life at this point.
Right.
Now, whether there's fire with that smoke between them two remains to be seen. But the problem that Booker T has with it is that DJ Vlad is using Swerve to make black people look bad. And specifically him look bad because Swerve kind of went in on him. Now they could easily, I would think Booker T would seem like the type of person that is willing to call you on the phone and like chop it up and get to the nitty gritty, right?
Right. He's old
So
school that
that's
way.
where, right. So that's where you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where all of this is coming from. It's not from a sense of, it's not even a heel turn. That's a real life beef that Swerve seems to have with Booker T, but it seems that Booker T is not really reciprocating that beef because he sees it as, yo, that dude is using you to make all of us look bad.
This is a lot more complicated than I thought it was.
See, that's right. That's why you need a black dude on this show, bro. We break down these ghetto things. break down this ghetto gauntlet, baby. No,
Um, how did you feel about, Swerve, using that moment as the platform to air out real life beef?
I mean, he has every right to feel what he feels. It's just a matter of, I think he has a right to feel what he feels. I think Booker T is one phone call away from getting all this solved. And
Right.
that's something, but that is up to Booker T. That is up to Swerve to, to, to walk through that door. And he doesn't seem like he's ready to walk through that door anytime soon.
Right. And I mean, even afterwards, Booker T, he said, he kind of lost respect for Swerve and that he wouldn't put him over and he wouldn't mention him on his show again. Um, because he said, you know, he's a strong believer at the end of a paid preview, people should be talking about that paid preview, and people were talking about Booker T. Um,
Yeah.
and that's not how you do business. And I can't help but agree with Booker T on that. Um, so I feel like if you're gonna say something like that, there's a place and a time. I mean, he could have went on, a podcast. I mean, he could have fucking said it on Twitter. Just fuck Booker T. Tweet. Plain and simple. Didn't need to be at the ending of the show. Send them home. Say thank you. Say whose house? Swerve's house. Send them home happy. Good night. Drive safe. All that needed to be
Well,
done.
well, clearly now there's a line in the sand because NXT happened Tuesday and they were yelling "fuck you, Swerve." Now that
Yeah.
tells
Yeah.
you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, so, so this is where, like I said, it's if you look at how Booker T approached it initially, you can't, you know what I'm saying?
He did it the
Because
proper
his
way.
right, right, no, Booker's T's beef wasn't with Swerve, it was with Vlad.
Right.
And Vlad used Swerve to get to Booker T, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
And then you see what I'm saying? So this is where it it gets iffy because it's like, well shit. If Swerve feels that way, I would think Swerve's a stand up guy. Booker's damn sure is a stand up guy.
100%.
They should be able to hash that out. But the fact that Vlad is that piece that threw everything in the chaos.
Right. I gotcha. Well, hopefully they'll be able to sort things out, and it doesn't necessarily paint Swerve in the best light, but I hope that
Mm-mm.
things will settle down. Like you said, one phone call away from squashing the beef. We shall see.
Well, it didn't help this Swerve because I mean, after they had like the whole Swerve and meeting with MVP after, so I don't know. And this is where it kind of gets where like, is that part of the gimmick to help Swerve get over the Death Riders, or is that you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or is it a deeper issue with him bringing MVP into the beef he has with Booker T? And this is where it's like we don't know. That's where it's like, go shit.
Right.
How the hell would we know?
Guess we shall see. Um. All right. Getting back to the show. AEW Dynasty. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Bring it up, thumbs down. That main event fucked everything up. Like we said, if the same way a main event or a really good match, because that's the bad part. The best match on that card to me
Yeah.
I would say Tony's match.
Hmm.
Tony's match was the best match, one of the better matches. The best storyline match was the Death Riders versus FTR. But all that means nothing because now, even though the Death Riders had that great trios match, it gets pulled down because of that Death Riders bullshit at the end. And
Um.
more people are going to be worried about, two things out of this pay-per-view. Why the fuck the Bucks did what the fuck they did, which made no goddamn sense, and the fuck Booker T shit. You're not really going to think about the pay-per-view card as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, my personal take was the Adam Cole Daniel Garcia match was the best match on the card. Best story
Mm-hmm.
was Edge and FTR because it was literally
Mm-hmm.
the only uh, story on the
The
card.
only story, shit, the only story in the card.
Yeah. So I mean, the when you only have one thing to pick from, it makes it easy. um, but I digress. Definitely, I don't think that the main event was just the icing on the cake. If I'm being honest, when it comes to a crappy show, I didn't think it was a good show from to any stretch of the imaginations, and that was just the icing on the cake of the turd cake that was Dynasty. So, definitely 100% thumbs down. Two thumbs down, I'd say. In the words of Scooter Dust, one thumb up the ass.
I mean, kinda.
Alright, that will conclude our coverage of AEW Dynasty. Thank God. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.